Moving forward, so obviously the excitement is building ahead of Monday of next week, and that's the return of football after about 3 and a bit weeks. Celtic will welcome Shaun Maloney's Hibs to Celtic Park. Slightly conflicting newspaper reports at this moment in time, so we're recording here on Monday evening and we'll find out more tomorrow, I'm sure, but it's yet to be confirmed if full houses will be back in the Premier League. We'll wait for that confirmation. So Mif, I mean, as we look to hit the ground running and get back in a decent run of form, how important would it be to have those fans there for that?
Well, I think it's absolutely vital. I think it's been shown this season, the sort of bond that's grown between the fans and the players. So yeah, it's vitally important. A full Celtic Park, again, something we referenced pre-season when we were talking about the upcoming season, is that a full Celtic Park back in the team will only have a positive effect on the players, and it's proven to be the case this season. So yeah, it'll be vital. And I think everybody after a fairly the festive period was dampened somewhat by the fact that the football stopped. Crowds were restricted. I think everybody will be really anxious just to get back and go and support their team, regardless of what team they support.
Yeah, James, in addition to obviously us as supporters hopefully getting back in, it's also huge for the new guys, isn't it? I'm thinking of the 3 guys from Japan. Don't know if it's too soon for a Johnny Kenny and McGree, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just sounds a bit unusual. Mark McGree's son. But it's huge for the new guys, isn't it? And it's a big reason why players sign for Celtic in the first place, to experience that full house, and hopefully they can get that next Monday.
Yeah, and it's McGree slightly accepted, but for the Japanese lads, they've had a wee bit of time to bond with the squad as well, so it's kind of perfect. They've got a bit of Ange's training under their belts, and then there's a full live game just right round the corner. Can't come quick enough for me. I think it was obviously a common sense thing that the winter break was brought forward, but it's time now, and listen, I'll get into the numbers and all that stuff, but hopefully we can get fans there.
Yeah, common sense for most people. Yeah, some people argued against the break, which is...
Common sense isn't that common.
Yeah, that's true. So Mif, what kind of test can we expect from this, I dare say, new Hibs side under Maloney? They've been signing a lot of bodies, so obviously Ewan Henderson won't be eligible for it, given that we are still his parent club, but they've signed a few other guys. They've signed someone from Bodo Glimt, I think.
Yes, and they signed Harry Clark from Arsenal on loan, who'd been at Ross County as well.
Yeah.
I think Maloney's gone in there and he's done fairly well first couple of games. You would expect that from any time I've heard him speak. He comes across quite well. He's good experience, obviously been away with Belgium, so not good luck to him apart from Monday night.
Yeah.
It'll be a tough test, but we've shown this season we can take care of Hibs. It's just we need to apply that. Both teams, by the sounds of it, will have some new signings in there playing as well, so it'll just be, it's a really interesting game, good game to hopefully welcome the fans back to it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so they're currently 5th in the table, James. They're behind the likes of Hearts and Motherwell, but they'll be looking to set down a marker during this second half of the season. I believe Paul McGinn and Ryan Porteous are both suspended for this one. They're both first choice defenders, so that's going to put them under pressure, considering the attacking intent Celtic will have, in a home game.
Well, and it's interesting because any other manager, any other team coming to Parkhead would say, well, I've lost 2 of my first choice defenders, so I'm going to go to hard banks of 5, low block football, all that stuff. I can't see Maloney taking that on. I think his football philosophy, having been a Celtic guy, is similar enough to Ange's in terms of he wants to play attractive football, which can obviously go against him without, with a couple of players out and stuff like that. So there's a lot remains to be seen as to how that game's going to go. I don't think Maloney's going to come and defend. I think he's going to come and play football, which should play to our advantage.
Mif, always bet responsibly, but £2 correct score, 9-5 Celtic. You going for it?
Looks like it. Look, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Over 14.5 goals.
So yeah, in terms of who will feature for Celtic, it's very, very hard to call. For a time there, you could easily pick out the lineup and it was fairly settled. Now that's all been blown out the water in a good way. It'll likely be too early for guys like Julian. Obviously, he's back training and we'll see how he goes. There will be a bit of hope that Jota makes it. I don't know if he featured in the training montage Celtic put out on Saturday, whether he's still having talks or whatever's going on, we don't know. But we'd be hopeful that he would be back. A fully fit Kyogo, of course, would be nice to see, as well as the excitement over the new guys, Mif. But, could be a very interesting lineup.
Well, that's the thing. We just simply don't know. A lot of chat about Jota and Vickers being signed permanently, which would be welcomed by me, certainly. But we just don't know, and it's hard to tell because Kyogo was injured, Jota was injured. You don't really know what you're going to get, but that was the whole point of the signings. The signings were there to add depth to the squad so that you did have other options rather than it being left on Johnson, because it looked like the responsibility was weighing pretty heavily on Johnson. I think he's best used sporadically, certainly at this point in time until he gets his confidence back. So interestingly enough, I'd seen on one of the stills, I'd seen James Forrest training and sprinting alongside the rest of the team, which I thought was really good news. But by the same token, I'm assuming by the signings and the links that we've had, that I'm not saying Ange doesn't fancy James Forrest, but he's probably thinking that he's not robust enough to kind of keep up with the regime. Maybe is how I'm looking at things, which is probably quite unfortunate given how regularly Forrest contributed to their success.
I think Ange will certainly see James as a talent, but it's just whether he can rely on that, and I think that's why we're seeing so many forwards and wingers either brought in or continue to be linked with the club.
And I kind of touched on earlier on about the kind of replacements and stuff. You're saying about Jota may or may not make it, and a month ago Jota may or not making it means I'm going to get Johnson, which is a serious downgrade at the moment. Let's see if Johnson I know son, but let's see if Johnson can get out on that loan, and I really think he should get out on loan and play first team football, because then you're going, Jota can't make it, but Maida's there. So this is what you're going to get in the fully fledged Ange team, is that the guy who doesn't make it's replaced by a guy who you're delighted to see in there. So you're only talking tiny degrees of quality change between them, up or down.
I think as well, Ange's system, the intensity of it does rely on guys giving their tank for 50, 60 minutes, and in a good way then, either putting the pot up themselves or Ange saying, right, he's done his shift, I now replace him with a guy of similar quality, and you just continue like that for the 90 minutes, because at times we have flagged and we've not put games to bed. We've gone 2-0 up and then kind of flagged a wee bit and maybe finished 2 or 2-1. I think this system allows you to go 2-0 up, refresh things at the hour mark and finish 4-0 rather than just go over the line.
That would be nice, rather than nervously seeing out games. I see though that you've moved on to your next pet from Mikey to Big Chris.
Aye.
Mikey is my number one, but I'm a fan of Julian yet. Julian,
the great pretender.
I really do feel his stock has risen with him being out the team rather than with his product effect on the park.
I seen your snipey wee tweet.
I just think
it doesn't go unnoticed.
I just think, again, when you talk about levels, I think he's a good player. I think he's got a part to play in the squad, but I don't think he is what everybody or a lot of fans seem to be making him out to be. There wasn't that evidence there prior to him getting injured.
I don't think he's brave enough to play Ange ball, and that's the big thing Ange looks for. And I've been critical of Starfelt. One thing you can't say is that he's not brave. He keeps putting himself in there, he keeps taking the ball out of defence. Maybe he shouldn't, but he's certainly a brave enough guy with the talent he's got to keep on doing that. I don't think Julian's a brave player. I really don't.
Did you not see the way that he tackled that post against Dundee United?
If he was any better
the
a
guy
player,
would run through a post for you.
If he was any better a player, he wouldn't have had to do that. It was his lack of awareness that put himself in that position to hit that post. 100%.
Barkas' nonsense. That's what he done to keep us a clean sheet. I think we won that game 3-0 that day, and this is the thanks he gets. Guys like you throwing him under a bus.
It's just stupidity. I think. Let's see. Is where I'm at with Julian. I'd love him to come in and be this completely different player. He's certainly he's the most expensive centre half we've ever signed, so I'm prepared to give him a chance, but I don't think it's the final answer.
Well, I think we need to look at him in two ways. Of course, his main job will always be to defend. He scored huge goals for Celtic, the League Cup winner, whatever that was, 2020, 2019. 2019. And he scored against Lazio, the winner there, and a couple of other big goals. So I think he's very capable defensively, but Ange is such a forward-thinking manager that he'll be saying, where can I also utilise this guy? Not that we're going to kind of lump balls up, and get him in the box and go like that, but if at times you're looking for something different from a corner, because listen, we're struggling at corners. We offer very little at the moment, set pieces and corners, there's nothing really there. He's clearly shown an eye for goal, so if he can take care of things defensively and add goals, it's a big asset.
Well, there's no point in having a 7-foot centre half if you can't beat the first man for a corner.
Well, this is true. It all comes down to the delivery coming in. But I do think he's got a huge part to play. And listen, the good thing about this is we'll all be able to sit down in 4 or 5 months' time and look at the season and say, here's exactly how we fared. So him and Mikey Johnson
you are right out on a limb. Right out on a limb.
I said a while ago, bury me on a Mikey Johnson shaped hill, but also a wee bit of Chris Julian shaping around it as well. Just to go back to the Hibs game in general, I mean, as I said, there's a lot of uncertainty as to what our lineup will be, and Hibs' lineup, I suppose. But would you lads be as bold to make a prediction at this stage, or is it just a very hard one to call?
Stick with the 9-5.
9-5's all round.
A prediction. You go first, James.
4-1. 4-1 Celtic. I think this is the reset to the football we were seeing early on against Dundee and St Mirren and stuff like that. They're going to be
plenty of goals,
crazy tempo. Yeah. Hard to live with.
I'll go 3-1 Celtic.
Yeah, I have to say, whether it's just the way it's landed with the 3-week break or whatever, I'm really quite excited. Touch wood and stuff. We get back to Celtic Park, but it's a real one to look forward to. Innit? Monday night football, floodlights, all the new signings, all the buzz are going back to it. We've not seen Ange in a few weeks. It'll be a real one to look forward to.
I've missed him.
Yeah,
I have missed him.
What about your wee fella? Is he excited?
Again, it's just a case of getting back to it. There's no really a time where you ever want to be without going to the football or going to see Celtic, especially this season when we've had a bit of a renaissance for the nonsense the season before. So no, I very much excited getting back to it, and even more so when you've made signs. It's exciting.
Nice to see.
You just want to get back. You want to see how they're going to perform. You want to see what position they're going to play in, how the team's going to line up. All those things. It just adds to it.
Yeah, definitely.